Good morning, everybody. It's 11:30 Eastern Time, and that means it is time for another episode. Just going to straighten that up a bit. Another episode of First Chapter Fun. This is the place where every day until the beginning of May, I am reading a chapter of a new book at 11:30 ET on Facebook and on Instagram. And we have Hank and Jennifer who have just joined on Instagram and wonderful Ritz. Hello, good morning, happy Easter, happy Passover. How is everybody doing? I hope you're all fine. And Jennifer has just said, I promise not to gasp. So there's a funny story. Good morning, Hank, because we are happy Easter, Kaylee, thank you. I met Jennifer Jumba, who is a librarian in Cleveland, at BoucherCon in a parking garage underground when we went to BoucherCon, and we happened to have the same badges, and we started talking, and we walked in, and she gasped and said, "Oh my God, it's Mary Kubica," which was very, very funny because it was indeed Mary Kubica, and it is from Mary's book, lovely segue there, that I am reading from today. So good morning, Glennie from San Diego. Good morning, Natalie. Happy Easter to everybody, and happy Passover. I wondered, or just happy Sunday if you celebrate neither. And I'm so pleased because Mary has actually joined us up on Facebook. I'm so pleased that you're able to. She wasn't sure. Hi, Mary. All hail Mary. She's hail Mary. Oh boy, my jokes are bad, and I didn't even try on that one. It was lovely to see you all. So let me tell you a little bit about what I'm going to be reading from today. So here it is. This is The Other Misses from Mary Kubica. And if you guys don't know Mary Kubica or haven't read any of Mary's books, what are you waiting for? Come on, man. She is absolutely wonderful and a stellar human being to boot. So let me tell you a little bit about Mary. I was going to make a joke and dig deep and say there's something about Mary, but I'm not going to embarrass myself. But there is something about Mary, and let me tell you a little bit about her background. Mary Kubica is the New York Times and USA Today's best-selling author of 6 novels, including The Good Girl, Pretty Baby, Don't You Cry, Every Last Lie, When the Lights Go Out, this is an ARC so it has a different cover, and The Other Misses. Can you tell I'm a bit of a fan? I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of Mary's. Mary knows this. A former high school history teacher, Mary holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, in history and American literature. She lives outside of Chicago with her husband and 2 children. Her first novel, The Good Girl, was an Indie Next pick in August 2014, received a Strand Critics Nomination for Best First Novel, and was a nominee in the Goodreads Choice Awards in Debut Goodreads Author and in Mystery and Thriller for 2014. Mary's novels have been translated into over 30 languages and have sold, hold on to your knickers boys and girls, have sold over 2 million copies worldwide. Mary is a heavyweight in the authorly world. She's been described as a hell of a storyteller by Kirkus, a writer of vice-like control by the Chicago Tribune, and her novels have been praised as hypnotic by People and thrilling and illuminating by the LA Times. And she is currently working on her next novel. And of course, The Other Misses is coming to Netflix. It's coming to Netflix. Not sure when, soon I hope. I mean, obviously with COVID-19 things get pushed around and stuff, but it's going to be on Netflix. I think I'm one of the only people in the world who doesn't have Netflix, so Mary, I will for you because I love you that much. So the book we chose to read from today is The Other Misses, which is out now, published in February 18th. And let me read you the intro. It's a brilliant book. I tell you, it's absolutely fantastic. Mary has just this, well, like People magazine said, a hypnotic way of writing. It's truly, it just pulls you in. It's so magnetic. You can't, I don't know, you just can't put it down. It's absolutely fabulous. I'm babbling. I'm going to stop babbling and I'm going to read you the blurb of The Other Misses. Sadie and Will Faust have only just moved their family from bustling Chicago to small-town Maine when their neighbour, Morgan Baines, is found dead in her home. The murder rocks their tiny coastal town, but no one is more shaken than Sadie, who's terrified by the thought of a killer in her very own backyard. But it's not just Morgan's death that has Sadie on edge. It's their eerie old home with its decrepit decor and creepy attic, which they inherited from Will's sister after she died unexpectedly. It's Will's disturbed teenage niece, Imogen, with her dark and threatening presence. And it's the troubling past that continues to wear at the seams of their family. As the eyes of suspicion turn toward the new family in town, Sadie is drawn deeper into the mystery of Morgan's death. But Sadie must be careful, for the more she discovers about Mrs. Baines, the more she begins to realise just how much she has to lose if the truth ever comes to light. And I'm not going to tell you what the truth is, obviously. So it's a brilliant book. It's absolutely fantastic. As always, I'm going to save this video to Facebook and it'll be on my story too. So please leave a question or a comment for Mary. Ask her how she does it. Ask her where she gets her ideas from. Ask her what it's like to have a book made into a movie. I mean, surely that's most authors' dream. It certainly is mine. So it's absolutely fantastic. Congratulations, Mary. You're a powerhouse and wonderful, and you are brilliant. And let me show everybody how brilliant you are by reading the first chapter. So this is The Other Misses by Mary Kubica. Sadie. There's something off about the house. Something that nags at me, makes me feel uneasy, though I don't know what it is about the house that makes me feel this way. On the surface, it's perfectly idyllic, grey with a large covered porch, one that runs the full width of the house. It's boxy and big, a 4-square farmhouse with windows aligned in rows, symmetrical in a way I find eye-pleasing. The street itself is charming, sloped and tree-covered, each house as lovely and as well kept as the next. On the surface, there's nothing about the house that's not to like, but I know better than to take things at face value. It doesn't help that the day, like the house, is grey. If the sun were out, maybe I'd feel differently. That one, I say to Will, pointing at it because it's identical to the one in the picture that was given to Will from the executor of the estate. He'd flown in last week to Portland to take care of the official paperwork. Then he'd flown back so we could drive here together. He hadn't had time to see the house then. Will pauses, bringing the car to rest in the street. He and I lean forward in our seats at exactly the same time, taking it in, as do the boys in the back seat. No one speaks, not at first, not until Tate blurts out that the house is gigantic, transposing his soft and his hard G's as 7-year-olds have a tendency to do, and Will laughs, overjoyed that someone besides him can see the advantage of our move to Maine. The house is not gigantic, not really, but in comparison to a 1,200 square foot condo it is, especially when it comes with its own yard. Tate has never had his own yard before. Will gently steps on the gas, easing the car into the driveway. Once in park, we climb out, some more quickly than others, though the dogs are the quickest of all, stretching our legs, grateful, if for nothing else, to be done with the long drive. The air outside is different than what I'm used to, infused with the scent of damp earth, salty ocean, and the woodsy terrain. It smells nothing like home. The street is quiet in a way I didn't like, an eerie quiet, an unsettling quiet, and at once I'm reminded of the notion that there's safety in numbers, that bad things are less likely to happen among crowds. There's a misconception that rural living is better, safer than urban living, and yet it's simply not true. Not when you take into account the disproportionate number of people living in cities, the inadequate healthcare systems in rural parts. I watch Will walk toward the porch steps, the dogs running along beside him, passing him up. He's not reluctant like me. He struts as much as he walks, anxious to get inside and check things out. I feel resentful because of it, because I didn't want to come. At the base of the steps he hesitates, aware only then that I'm not coming. He turns toward me, standing still next to the car, and asks, "Everything all right?" I don't answer, because I'm not sure if everything is all right. Tate goes dashing after Will, but 14-year-old Otto hovers like me, also reluctant. We've always been so much alike. "Sadie," Will says, modifying his question, asking this time, "Are you coming? It's cold," he says, a fact of which I was unaware because of my focus on other things, like how the trees around the house tower high enough to block the light, and how dangerously slick the steep street must be when it snows. A man stands up at the top of the hill in his lawn with a rake in hand. He's stopped raking and stands perched, watching me, I think. I raise a hand and wave, the neighbourly thing to do. He doesn't wave back. He turns away, goes back to raking. My gaze goes back to Will, who says nothing of the man. Surely he saw him as well as I did. "Come on," Will says instead. He turns and climbs the steps with Tate beside him. "Let's go inside," he decides. At the front door, Will reaches into his pocket and pulls out the house keys. He knocks first, but he doesn't wait to be let in. As Will unlocks the door and pushes it open, Otto moves away from me, leaving me behind. I go too, only because I don't want to be left alone outside. Inside we discover that the house is old, with things like mahogany panelling, heavy drapery, tin ceilings, brown and forest green walls. It smells musty. It's dark, dreary. We crowd together in the entryway and assess the home, a traditional floor plan with the closed-in rooms. The furnishings are formal and unwelcoming. My attention gets lost on the curved legs of the dining room table, on the tarnished candelabra that sits on top of it, on the yellowing chair pads. I hardly see her standing at the top of the stairs. Were it not for the slightest bit of movement caught out of the corner of my eye, I might never have seen her. But there she stands, a morose figure dressed in black, black jeans, a black shirt, bare feet. Her hair is black, long with bangs that slant sideways across her face. Her eyes are outlined in a thick slash of black eyeliner, everything black, aside from the white lettering on her shirt, which reads, "I want to die." The septum of her nose is pierced. Her skin, in contrast to everything else, is white, pallid, ghost-like. She's thin. Tate sees her too. At this he moves from Will to me, hiding behind me, burrowing his face into my backside. It's not like Tate to be scared. It's not like me to be scared, and yet I'm well aware that the hairs on the nape of my neck now stand on end. "Hello," I say, my voice weak. Will now sees her too. His eyes go to her. He says her name. He starts climbing the steps to her, and they creak under his feet, protesting our arrival. "Imogen," he says, with arms wide, expecting, I think, that she'll fold herself into them and let him hold her. But she doesn't, because she's 16 and standing before her is a man she hardly knows. I can't fault her for this. And yet the brooding, melancholic girl was not what I'd imagined when we discovered we were given guardianship of a child. Her voice is acidic when she speaks, quiet. She doesn't ever raise her voice. She doesn't need to. The muted tone is much more unsettling than if she screamed. "Stay the fuck away from me," she says, coolly. She glowers down over the stair banister. My hands involuntarily move behind me and to Tate's ears. Will stops where he is. He lowers his arms. Will has never seen her before, just last week when he came and met with the executor of the estate. It was then that he signed the papers and took physical possession of her. Though arrangements had been made for her to stay with a friend while Will, the boys and I drove here. The girl asks, her voice angry, "Why did you have to come?" Will tries to tell her. The answer is easy, for were it not for us, she'd likely have entered the foster care system until she turned 18, unless she was granted emancipation, which seemed unlikely at her age. But an answer is not what she wants. She turns away from him, disappearing into one of the second-story rooms, where we hear her futzing angrily with things. Will makes a move to follow, but I say to him, "Give her time," and he does. The girl is not the same as the little girl Will had shown us in the photograph, a happy-go-lucky, freckled brunette of about 6 years old. This girl is different, much changed. The years have not been kind to her. She comes with the house, just another thing that's been left to us in the will, mixed in with the house and the heirlooms, what assets remain in the bank. She's 16, nearly able to be on her own, a moot point that I tried arguing, for certainly she had a friend or some other acquaintance who could take her in until she turned 18, but Will said no. With Alice dead, we were all that remained, her only family, though she and I were meeting just now for the first time. She needs to be with family, Will told me at the time, days ago only, though it feels like weeks. A family who will love her and care for her. She's all alone, Sadie. My maternal instinct had kicked in then, thinking of this orphaned girl all alone in the world, with no one but us. I hadn't wanted to come. I'd argued that she should come to us, but there was so much more to consider, and so we came anyway, despite my reservations. I wonder now, and not for the first time this week, what kind of disastrous effect this change will have on our family. It can't possibly be the fresh start Will so auspiciously believes it to be. That was the first chapter of The Incredible The Other Misses by the incredible Mary Kubica. It is out now. And if you didn't hear this at the beginning of the episode, it is being made into a Netflix movie. So I absolutely love this book. It is stellar. It's really, really, really good. So that was today's episode. Once again, Mary is watching up on Facebook, so please leave her a comment or on the Instagram feed as well, or the story. Leave her a comment or a question or whatever you like. And thank you all for watching. Let me show you tomorrow's book. Here we go. So tomorrow I will read to you the first chapter of Miracle Creek. I know that's a bit glary, but it will be tomorrow's book, Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. That is set up for tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. as always, right here on Instagram Live and on Facebook. Mary just said, "Clap, clap, clap, you are phenomenal. That was lovely, thank you." No, thank you. Thank you for letting me do this for you. Thank you to all of the authors who agreed and publishers who agreed for me to do this series and help entertain a little bit and get you through this strange time that we're all living. So tomorrow at 11:30 I will be reading from Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, and I hope you'll join me then. So until then, please, as always, stay safe and stay kind, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.